welcome to Unscripted with Marilyn Morales. I am here today with two beautiful co-hosts. They are Gabrielle Morales and Jessica Roman. Gabby, introduce yourself. Who are you?
Hi, everybody. So honored to be here for today's episode. My name is Gabrielle Morales, and I work for Be the Match. Just really excited to be here, learn more about travel.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. Jessica, share with us who you are.
Hi, everyone. Well, first, thank you for having me on the show. I'm honored to be here and excited to interview our special guest this evening. My name is Jessica Roman. I'm from Tampa, Florida. I'm a cake artist of 10 years, also a life coach, and I run a company called Yummy Coaching Factory, where we help people discover their confidence and self esteem, develop the intrinsic values that contribute to their overall success, and have yummy cake in between. So I'm a creative soul, and I'm so happy to be here.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you so much, ladies, for being here with me today. So today I had these two ladies join me for a very specific reason. I have never traveled outside of the United States. I don't even own a passport. 2023, my plan is to change that. So my next guest I invited on because I need travel tips, right? And so do these ladies. We want to learn about travel, get tips on how to do that on a budget. And from what I hear, DJ Duchess Love is an expert on that. So I am going to welcome DJ Duchess to the show. Hello. There you go. There's the wave. There's a wave. Thank you for coming on and joining us today. There's so much that we want to talk about and have you share with us. So first, tell our viewers who you are. And after sharing with us all the beautiful things that you do, take us back to before you were doing this blogging, these TV shows, and everything, and sharing with everybody your love for travel. Why is travel so important to you?
Well, thank you for having me as your guest. I certainly appreciate it. I'm Duchess DJ Love, gallivanting like a royal. I should have worn my crown tonight, but I've been working on the ranch all day long. So, there wasn't enough time to doll up, and I didn't want to wear the crown in my sweat clothes, so to speak. So just bear with me. But my platform, Gallivanting Like a Royal, is all about helping people live a better life. We're all born royal, whether we know it or not. We're a royal child of God, whether whoever your God is, you're royal. So people ask me, well, why do you wear the crown? It represents the fact that I am royal and that I can live a life that is worthy of the stars. And that's what I do. I've went from, as you want to say, rags to royalty. It has not been an easy journey, and it did not happen overnight. And I rarely meet people that have instantly went, from a quick fix, as they will call it, into a lot of money. It takes a lot of years of preparation and work. And my story I want to share with you happened a couple of years ago. The reason that travel is so important to me now. But growing up as a child, travel has always been my thing. I grew up very poor. So I wanted to see the world. Something inside me told me that the world was bigger than what I knew. And I didn't know what it was, but I didn't want that life forever. I did not want that to be my outcome.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that. Gabby, does that resound with you?
It definitely does. I have just recently started traveling. It's something that I've always wanted to do, and my mom knows this. Even, wanted to get away for school because I thought that was the only way that I could just, get out and explore places other than Jersey. And even now I have this itch to just get out there and see different places. And that's actually one of my major goals for the new year. Just creating a budget for myself so that I'm able to travel and do the things I want and also not depend on other people to go where I want to go. So have lots of questions today, and I'm really excited to get into it and learn more.
I'll be glad to help you with those questions because I can kind of guide you and steer you in the right direction.
Awesome. Right. Duchess, one question I have for you is why Duchess? You're royalty, right? And I think you've been asked this before. Why Duchess instead of Queen, instead of Princess?
Yes. I get that a lot.
Mhm.
To me, a queen is a very prim and proper lady, and it does not fit my personality, my style. I'm not real prim and proper. I'm just who I am. And to me, a princess sounded a little too entitled. So I wanted to be a duchess because a duchess is someone that actually kind of works for her royalty. They work for their title.
Oh.
It's not something to just granted to them. You earn it, and so that's the thing. I want people to realize that I earned this. I work for this, and I'm all about sharing the love.
So, Jessica, what do you have to say for that?
Oh my goodness. What a down to earth and beautiful soul you are. I had the pleasure of meeting you back in October of this year at an event, and you are just the same person that we see here, just down to earth, using regular words, just expressing your love for traveling and all things that are explorative. So I commend you on that. I did have a question though.
Okay.
If you could, if you could take me back to the time in your life, help us understand the process of thinking when you chose to have travel as your lifestyle. What led up to that, and how did it become a decision that you wanted this for your life? Talk to us.
Okay, again, as a child, I was poor and I wanted out of that lifestyle. I did not want to grow up poor. And I knew there were opportunities out there in the world because you watch TV, you can see it. And I'm thinking, well, why not me? Why is my life like it is now? So travel became so important to me that my parents on my birthday would save up all year to take me. It's in July. Christmas in July was born because of my love for travel. Um, so I wanted to go somewhere. So they would save up all year. So on my birthday, they could take me somewhere. Granted, it might just be a 2-hour trip away or to a bigger city where I could just explore and just, kind of look up and be amazed at the skyscrapers and what city life was like, because I grew up in a rural area, not many people. So if going to a city was a big deal for me. So that's kind of how it got started, and it's always been in me. It has to do with something with my birth purpose, why I'm on this earth. I honestly feel that way because as soon as I got out of high school, I thought the way to it would be a travel agent. So I went and got a travel agent certification. I learned very quickly they'd make minimum wage. So I'm like, no, this is not going to take me on my travel journey. So I decided, okay, well, what am I good at? My strengths are math and science. So, okay, I said, I was trying to get out of college. So I decided then, since my little certificate was not going to pay the bills and give me my travel life, I was going back to college, get that 4-year degree, which I got in finance, commercial banking, specialized in commercial banking, and a minor in economics, so that I'll know how to spend money, how to have money, how to manage money, so I could feel my passion of traveling. I had to figure out some way to earn the money to get me to do my passion. And since that has happened, that has led me on a journey. Well, if you're going to travel, how can I make the most out of it? Because I'm very frugal with my money. I'm just not going to, throw it away. Because I said, if you don't come, when you come from nothing, you're not frivolous. You're very frugal with your money and you want to spend it the right way and you want to get the most out of it. So traveling has always been a part of my life.
Right.
Does that answer the question, Jessica? Or are you referring to something recently that happened to me that really got my traveling jump started?
No, that actually answered my question.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome response. You're welcome.
Right. So those of us that were, didn't have all the means growing up, right? We know the value of that dollar. We know how hard we have to work for that dollar. Myself, I grew up poor as well. And I used to dream about traveling as well. The farthest I got was Puerto Rico as I was growing up. But I always remember that when I got on that airplane, there was a lot of prayer. There was a lot of, I hope I get there. So a lot of fear associated with flying and travel from my parents, from my grandparents. It was like a big deal. So they also instilled in me fear of travel because of it. So what would you tell somebody like me who was afraid or who has that seed inside of them, a fear of venturing out?
Well, that's a very good question because again, when I was in high school, my dad had to fly to Philadelphia and back every week for his job for 12 weeks because he was helping train some folks up in the area. The first week he had to go, he came back and he said, I will not fly again. He was scared of flying. You know, he had to have him a few mixed drinks before he got on the plane just to get through it. So he hasn't flown since. He flew that one time up and one time back. He drove to Philadelphia back and forth from South Carolina to meet his obligations with travel because he hasn't flown since and he doesn't plan to. So if you can imagine me, a travel enthusiast, begging, please put me in the suitcase. Let me fly with you, Daddy. You know, so I understand that fear because he still has it. And now my mom will fly with me, but my dad don't. But the thing I tell people is you're safer in that airplane than you are walking across the street or if you're driving a car. So, I mean, you need to go look at the statistics and they'll tell you you're safer in that plane. Even during COVID, you were safer flying a plane than you're going into a grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
So
true story.
So that's what I want people to realize. And if you are scared and anxious, when you get in there, just sit down and just relax. Try to take your mind off of it. What I do is, especially if I'm going on a long trip, I stay up as long as possible. And I get on that plane, I go to sleep. So if you're afraid of flying, stay up late. So when you get on the plane, because you know how once your body relaxes, you're out.
Right.
Or, you know, if you can have a mixed drinks, like me, I don't drink much. So if I drink one little mixed drink, trust me, I'm kind of like zonked out. So, I mean, I'm not, you know, saying go get drunk, but take whatever it takes to make you comfortable. Because when I fly international, I have my doctor prescribe me pills so that I can sleep on the plane. Not because I'm scared, but so I can totally relax and be fresh for my journey when I get where I'm going. And that's the whole thing. You don't want to spend money on a trip. And then when you get there, you're tired or you stress out so much, your body aches, you know, from anxiety. You don't want to do that.
Right. And for me, I won't sit next to the window. You know, I'll take an aisle seat so I don't have to look outside. I'll lower that down so I'm not looking. I'm afraid of heights, period. Right. So that is like the ultimate height is getting on an airplane. So I do little things like that just so that I don't think about it. I like flights where it's nighttime or where it's really early so that I can sleep. And when I wake up, there I am, you know. So little tips like that actually. Did something happen to your father on that flight that he decided never to fly again?
He just didn't like it. It was not for him. I guess he just felt he was not in control or that, you know, it was too compact with people. He never really said, but he just said he had to fly back, if he could have rented a car or found some way to get back, he would not have flown back from Philadelphia. So, yeah, and he hasn't flown since. And he likes to travel as long as we can drive. And I'm like, no, I'm flying those friendly skies. Hey.
So he's not leaving the USA.
Right.
He has a passport in case he has to. Now, again, he hasn't flown, but if there was a reason where he had to, because you never know in this world today why we may have to leave our country. So it's best to have your passport in case you have to go. Like I say, because we, you know, think about the people in Ukraine. Russia bombed them. If they hadn't had a passport, they couldn't leave their country. So we don't never know what's going to happen in our country where we may need that passport to evacuate for whatever reason. So the passport's not only for travel, you think of it as a necessity, and it's good for 10 years. And I advise everybody to get one. Sometimes it takes 2 months to 6 months, depending on how you fill out your application. So I would say get it way in advance if you're going to go outside of the U.S.
Right. Yeah, that's one of my goals is to fill out. I was hoping to do this before the show, but I didn't get it done. I was going to fill out my application.
You need to get your passport. He has not done it yet.
I keep saying it, right?
Everybody should have it. So we're going to keep you accountable. And we'll check in next show to see if you have your passport.
That's right.
No, in a couple shows. It takes a little bit longer than that. But I actually had a question. So we were talking about, you know, budgeting and finances, all that stuff when it comes to travel. I just wanted to know if you have any tips and tricks for, you know, putting money aside or budgeting for travel. I know that's something that I'm struggling with a little bit on my end, especially when, you know, everybody has bills and things that they need to take care of. A lot of people are basically living paycheck to paycheck, and they have that desire to travel. Is there anything that you suggest or anything we can do so that we can make, you know, these dreams a reality?
Yes, that's one of my favorite questions. So thank you for asking it. That's where I say everybody can travel. Again, it takes budgeting and money management, which, you know, some people will need a few lessons in that, which I can help with that as well. But the reason I say that is you have to be responsible. For me personally, I pay everything I can on my credit card. And the reason I pay it on my credit card is I pay it off at the end of the month, so I don't accrue late fees or interest, don't have to worry about it. I'm going to spend X amount of money on my groceries, my utilities, whatever anyway. So, you know, you typically write a check to pay for those. I'd rather put it on my credit card, write that check at the end of the month. My particular credit card gives me miles, free mileage. If you need cash for your trip, you get one for cash and you can get it back at the end of the year, and that'll be your lump sum to go towards your trip. But I take the miles so I can fly free. You have to pay for my rental car, my hotel. It'll cover anything once you have them. You just deduct them. And the reason I like to get the miles too is, again, people are getting stuck at the airport. You can use your miles to upgrade to these airline clubs. And if you get stuck in the airport, guess what? You get to go stay in one of those nice lounges. So you're not bombarded with everybody. They give you free snacks. They some food to it. I mean, you got privileges being in there that is a real comfort. And even if you are not a member of the airline clubs, a lot of times you can purchase a one-day pass, which I advise people to do. And different credit cards actually grant you free access to those clubs. That's what I'm saying. Be wise with your money. Find a card that fits you, what you need. Put everything, again, be responsible. At the end of the month, you're going to write a check to pay those bills. Just write it one check to pay that credit card, and you've accumulated all those miles. Because most of them give you a mile for the dollar. And sometimes they give you double or triple on particular items. So you just have to, you know, look for those. Like I get double miles on eating out, which I like to do a lot because I travel, and gas. Well, I drive a lot, fuel. So, I mean, that's the way I look at it. Also, there are competitive ways that you can use different travel apps. Let's just say you want to go to Hawaii and you want to go in March. Right now, what you do is you go look on these different travel apps and say, okay, here's when I'm going. How much is it going to cost? That way you have an idea if I really want to go to Hawaii in March. Then you can go look, let's go see how much it's going to cost to go to Hawaii in May. You may see May is half what it would cost and go in March. You have to be a little flexible, but you can check those things. But that's it. You need to have a good estimate of how much something is going to cost, because you don't want to go somewhere and then when you come back home, you worry about how I'm going to pay that bill.
Right. Good points. Definitely good points. And that a lot of people don't know about the perks of certain credit cards and stuff. I'm just now learning about that. So thank you so much for informing us.
And one more thing on the credit card. A lot of people tell me, I don't want to have to pay the annual fee. I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to pay the annual fee. Remember, I minored in economics. So one thing I learned that has stuck with me out of everything is opportunity cost. That is a big thing with me, opportunity cost. So let's say my particular credit card costs me $95 a year to have it. Well, first of all, for every dollar I spend, I'm going to get that much mileage. But if you think about it, if you take a trip, us ladies, a carry-on's not going to cut it for us. We're going to have to check a bag. We're ladies, I'm sorry, that's just, if nothing else, our shoes, we're going to have to check a bag.
That's right.
The airlines check a bag, $35, some of them's $40. So if you flew 2 times, or if you just went one trip and you had to pay baggage going and coming, that's almost your $95. If you fly 2 trips, that's definitely your $95. So you weigh the cost allowances or the benefits of, I'm going to pay this, but what do I get from it?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I make my travel decisions whenever I purchase anything. Okay, it's going to cost me this. What are the benefits I'm going to reap from doing this?
Wow.
That's
Great
very
point.
good.
Absolutely. Love that. Love that. So you mentioned the clubs at the airports. Now you say you recommend buying the one day. Do you recommend joining these clubs at all?
If you're a frequent flyer, yes, I would absolutely advocate for joining a club, especially since COVID happened, because you never know when you're going to get stuck in an airport, you know. And just think, if everybody is stuck at an airport, and let's just say you have the money to go stay at a hotel, well, guess what? The hotels are booked. So you have no choice but sleep at the hotel. I mean, at the airport. So why not? If you're going to have to stay at the airport, stay in the most comfortable, safest part of the airport there is, those airport lounges. And they cater to you. They'll be the ones that will get you on the first available flight because they have inside agents working inside. So you wait in those long customer service lines. If everybody's been somewhere and seen the lines where flights canceled and have people waiting in line for a long time to get rebooked, and you try calling, you're going to be on the phone for sometimes 2 to 4 hours.
Wow.
So the airline lounges are your best bet to get the quickest and best flights out when anything happens. Or if there's a delay, they can hop you on you get first status to another plane. Like this happened to me recently when I was flying from Charlotte to Dallas. We were on the plane. Maintenance was on trying to do something. Well, guess what? They didn't have the right help or the right parts. They made us get off the plane. And we didn't know if we were going to go that night because there were 2 other flights left, the 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock. By all accounts, those flights were sold out. Now, with my status, I went and checked. They could have got me on the 10 o'clock flight. But that meant I'd had to wait at the airport for 4 hours, which, hey, instead of waiting overnight, I would have took the 4 hours. That's the benefit of being at one of these clubs. But luckily, they got a new plane in and flew us all out because a lot of people were going to South America that were headed to Dallas for a connecting flight. And the airlines do not want to be responsible when it's maintenance related to put you up in a hotel or give you money. So that's another thing to remember. If it's maintenance related, the airlines is obligated to give you a place to stay and some food in a way, something. But then again, if all the hotels in the area are sold out, there's nowhere for you to go.
Wow. So tell me, what happens in these lounges? I've never been inside of a lounge.
The lounges are just really nice. It's just private. You have private sitting areas. You have the nice comfy chairs. You're not in the little airplane chairs, where, they're hard to sit in. These are comfortable. They have little buffet style things where you can go get some snacks, get your fountain drinks. If you want to order a meal, they have where you can order a meal. And if you want beer or wine or mixed drink, they have those too. They have free, secure internet for business travelers like me. So that's a plus. I want secure internet. If you're out in the regular airport, they have free Wi-Fi. But guess what? Everybody can get that free Wi-Fi. At least you're in the club, you have a password, so your internet surfing is more secure. And plus, they have real clean restrooms. So I'm a big thing of cleanliness.
Absolutely. That's why you're gallivanting, girlfriend.
That's right.
I know it. I'm about to never travel unless I'm in a club. I didn't know that was in there, right? I didn't travel to join one, right?
I actually have another question that I thought of.
Okay.
So do you have, any words of encouragement for anybody who, like myself, is a little afraid of traveling alone, especially, being a woman, safety, and especially international travel? I think that's what I have my reservations about. Anything you would say to people like me who really want to travel, don't want to depend on other people, but are a little afraid to do that on their own?
If you're going to travel internationally for a single female, I'd even say for a single guy. If one guy was traveling, I would go with a group. I always book a group tour because there's safety in numbers. And if anything goes wrong, they may not personally know you, but they have a count. I got 20 on this tour. I'm missing one. Where's that? You know, they'll go looking for you because they're obligated to make sure you get from point A to point B.
Right.
But now in the United States, I would tell you to solo travel all you can. And I like it, and tell you why. I meet people. You let me sit by myself, someone wants to come up and talk to me. If I got other people with me, no, they don't pay me any attention. But let me be sitting by myself. Well, hello there. Where are you headed? What are you doing? You know, conversations strike up. And you meet some really cool people just by chance that way. Because traveling, my quote is, traveling opens doors that you didn't know needed opening. And that happens when you solo travel. So don't be scared of it. I would advise to research the area that you're going, whether it's local or international. I would give someone my itinerary, or several people my itinerary, where I'm going to be, what hotel I'm staying at, what's the hotel's phone number. If it's internationally, I would also find out where the embassies are, give my relatives or whoever knows where I'm at the contact information, give somebody else a copy of your passport, make you a color printed copy and give it to someone and leave there for you. And if you travel, I'd also make a copy of it and take with you and put it in somewhere else. That's not, if you have your passport on, you have the copy somewhere else. That way, if something misses, you got some sort of identification, which is important. But no, I say travel. Now's the best time to travel by yourself. And if you think about it, it has its pluses. You're only accountable for you. And if you want to see something, you do it. If someone else wants to see something you may not want to do, and it could cost, they may want to see something that costs more money than you really want to pay for that. You may not see it's worth or value. So you got to think about those things as well. But I like the best part of it is you meet people. People are so willing and open to help someone by themselves. They will go out of their way to help you.
Wow. Jessica, have you ever traveled by yourself?
All the time.
Oh.
All the time.
So share, come.
All the time.
And are people very helpful to you, Jessica? I mean,
and it's my favorite thing to do because I've never been married, right? I don't have any children yet. Look, yet, right? But in my free time, you know, I live in a very beautiful place, Florida, but you can only see the beach so many times. You can only go to Disney World so many times. So I wanted to go out and explore. I love to go up north and see different shows. I'll go and get a plane of, you know, something quick, a red eye or something to New York, go catch a Broadway show, get a slice of pizza, and come back home before Sunday night. This is when I was in corporate America. So it's the freedom. It's the freedom that you have. You feel exhilarated. You feel like, wow, like I can actually do this on my own. And much like you, my credit cards, I take use of the points. Hilton uses, they give me points, and sometimes I get free stays and all that stuff. So I use it to my advantage. You meet so many different people from different places, and at the end of the day, we're all human. We all have the same basic needs: safety, security, and food. I'm a foodie. I'm a cake decorator. So if I can strike up a conversation with somebody in a restaurant, in a deli or something, we always leave better than we were coming in. So yeah, I travel by myself all the time. Now that I'm in a relationship, he wants to know where I am, when I'm coming back, and he wants to make sure I'm okay. But I always put my faith in God, and I've become so much more confident in who I am because I've stepped out of my comfort zone. Yeah.
Right. Excellent. You know, I think I've never been alone. I've never been alone. I've always been with someone. My mom used to be the one that always went places with me, right? She was my best friend. And I've even to the store. I like somebody being with me. Gaby's my daughter. So it's like, I like being with people because I think for me personally, I like to share experiences with the people I love and care about. So I think if I see this, oh my God, you know, I think Gaby would have loved this. I'm always thinking about who else I know would have loved to see what I'm seeing. So I'm always thinking about somebody else, you know, experiencing what I'm experiencing. So,
well, that's a good point that you brought up, Marilyn, because here's the thing you got to think about. I love me more. Some people may think that's selfish, but I love me more, and I'll tell you why. If I don't love me more and take care of me, I'm no good to take care of anyone else. If I don't put me first and look after me, how am I going to help someone else? How am I going to benefit anyone else if I'm worn out and exhausted, or I'm not putting me first so I can take care of them? Because if you fly to friendly skies, that's the first thing they're going to tell you on that announcement. Okay, if something happens and the oxygen mask drop down, put yours over you first before you help someone else.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right. No, very valid point. I just don't know how to be by myself. I think I have to practice that. I mean, I remember going to a hotel by myself for work to another state. And then when I got there, I called my husband. I was like, oh my God, it's so quiet in here. There's no noise, no people. I couldn't even sleep because I'm so used to having, whether it's the dog, whether it's the kids, whether it's the husband, so used to having somebody around that when you're by yourself, it's like strange. So,
well, see, when you by yourself, you get to know who you are too. That's the thing. I don't think a lot of us know who we are. We've been so conditioned to being who everybody else wants us to be. So that's the time I think solo travel is so important. That gives you a chance to know who you are. Like I said, we got to love us. We got to know who we are before we can love us.
Right. True story. Now, you shared with me a little bit about a health situation that you had. Can you share that with our viewers?
I'll be glad to, because I think this so encouraging. You may be going through a tough time right now, and you just don't see how you're going to get out of it. But let me just tell you, there's hope. Because in 2021, my year started off wonderful. However, my mom, that's when we found out she had dementia. She enjoys traveling too. So I decided that we were going to travel together. Me and her, I was going to take her places while she still kind of knew what was going on. First few months went okay. The back of my neck started bothering me, but I have such long hair, you don't really pay any attention if there's like a little lump popping up.
Right.
So I just, I'm healthy. I've always been healthy. So I didn't think about, maybe it's an ingrown hair or something. This little bitty thing just kind of, kept popping and growing. Didn't think nothing about it. Didn't hurt. It wasn't, infected or anything. It was just like your skin, you could tell something was growing. It just kept rising up a little bit. But again, I didn't think nothing about it. I figured it would go away. No biggie. In May, my mom falls, broke her collar and her shoulder. So I had to take off work to take care of her. So we're going to all these doctor appointments and everything. And my hair, like I said, kind of pulled to the side. And when one of the doctors was looking at her, and he just happened to notice, he goes, are you hurting back on your neck? And I didn't know what he was talking about. I'm like, no, I'm not hurting. Why? He goes, well, your hair parted and it looked like there was a lump back there. I said, oh yeah, it's been there for several months. It doesn't bother me, so I'm not worried about it. And he's like, you might want to go get that checked out. And again, I didn't think any more about it. It wasn't hurt me, so why would I be concerned? Well, taking care of my mom, I thought, because I would sleep in her room with her because she, had to help her up if she had to go to the restroom. I thought my neck was hurting because maybe I slept wrong. You know how you lay on the pillow long, you get a little crick in your neck. But what it was, that growth had gotten closer to my spine and was putting pressure on my nerves. So I went to the doctor finally, and I don't know if my doctor meant to scare me or not, but she's probably like, it's probably cancer. We need to, get this removed ASAP and blah, 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 and do all kind of scans and everything. And I'm thinking to myself, my mom is just barely recovering. My dad doesn't need to hear this news. So I keep my mouth shut. And I just tell the doctor, I know if I prolong this, it could end my life, but it could end my life anyway. And if I'm meant to go, I'm going to go. But my thing is, I'm going to put it off until December. I want to see the world, because you never know what could go wrong. Let's just say it's nothing significant. But what if the operation, since it's so close to my spinal cord, messes with my spine? Operations do go south. Not all of them and not many of them. But you have to think along those lines. What if something happened to me there? So I decided travel's my passion. I'm going to spend my money. I'm going to see some stuff before I take this operation, because who knows how long it's going to take me to recover. You know, like I said, I've never been sick, so I didn't know what to expect when someone's going to be cutting on me, operating on me, and, you know, going under that kind. So that was freaking me out. So that's where the travel came in. I went somewhere every 2 weeks, actually. Every 2 weeks I took a trip. And no one didn't really understand what was going on. They knew I was going to a lot of doctor visits, but they didn't understand the why. And I didn't want anybody knowing, because I didn't want to trouble my parents.
Right.
So you can imagine me being scared, not knowing what's going on. I'm only child, caretaker for my mom who has dementia. Granted, there's my dad, and, you know, he looks after her too, but he relies on me because she's a female. But I went to 5 different doctors that for someone to actually work on me, because it was so close to the spine and to the, you know, your nerves back there. But I felt fortunate because I finally found a doctor, a surgeon that I felt comfortable with. All the other ones, I didn't like their vibe. I didn't like their energy. I didn't like the way they talked to me. So I would have been more traumatized if one of them had worked on me. You see?
Right.
So I found this doctor for whatever reason. He made me feel safe. He made me feel, you're going to be okay. It's not that big of a deal. He goes, granted, it's, you know, something to be concerned about, but he ran some tests. He goes, it's not cancerous, but we still got to remove it because it will affect your nerves and spinal cord. So I'm like, okay. And so I went to Hawaii right before I was supposed to have surgery, because the vortexes are supposed to have healing energy. I really believe going to Hawaii and spending that relaxing 4 days before I had my surgery helped, because I came back in a good mood. I was relaxed. I was upbeat. I still had these live memories of me being on the Big Island and wanting to go back. So that helped me heal. Okay, so then fast forward to 2022. I plan to retire the end of 2022. I have enough time in with my job that I can retire early. Granted, I can't get any of the money thing until, you know, you reach retirement age, but you can retire and keep the health benefits, which was the whole reason of working. So my goal was, okay, when I retire, I want to be a travel blogger. That way I can't just sit idly around. I got to have something to do.
Right.
So in 2022, I wasn't thinking about doing this. I just think, okay, I'm going to retire at the end of the year, just enjoy life and have fun. I don't rarely have really hectic days with my job, but this was on March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. I had a hectic day at work. I remember this crystal clear. 4 p.m., I get this, what I call a download from God, from above, that said, you need to start your travel blog now. And I just kind of laughed. Yeah, right. I got a deadline. I got 1 more hour to finish this for 5 o'clock. So and then I have another work meeting afterwards with dinner involving a bunch of people. So I'm like, yeah, this is not happening. And I didn't think anything else about it. It was about 6:30. We're getting our meals that we had ordered. That download hit me again. I said, you need to start your blog now. And I'm thinking, well, really, how am I going to start a blog? I got people all around me. We're eating. We're discussing business. It's not happening. I'm like, you know, what's wrong up here? You know, am I hearing things? So then I get home, and like I say, I'm exhausted. It's a Thursday night, and I decide I'm just going to go to bed early. I'm tired. It's been a long day. I want to start my weekend off refreshed. So I'm like, okay, let's just all go to sleep early. And it was like 10 o'clock. I'm getting ready. That download hit me the third time, and it said, this time, if you don't do it now, you never will. Okay, that never will did not sit well with me, because I had planned for it. I had saved for it. I prepared for it. I had worked up all this point so that I could retire so I could do my little travel blogging. I wasn't necessarily doing it to make money, but that was something to keep me occupied, to keep my passion, to keep me alive, so I would thrive. So I'm thinking, okay, I don't know the first thing about publishing a travel blog. It's 10 p.m. Who do I ask? I happen to think of one friend that told me she had published a blog a long, long time ago. And she goes to bed early. So I hated to text her, but I texted her. I said, please don't be mad at me. And I hope this doesn't wait. But I have to post a travel blog tonight. How do I do it? And I could tell she was irritated with me, because she just come back and said travelblog.org. Didn't say anything else. And so then once I get on it, I guess she feels sorry for me. She goes, why? It's not that hard. You can do it. And I said, well, I'm in the process now of creating the account, and, you know, I'm going to post the blog tonight. And we can get into it, because I'll talk to you tomorrow. Well, my thing was it was a lot more harder than you would think. You have to create an account, create a password. And by this time, it's getting close to 11 o'clock. I don't have anything prepared to write. So I have to think really fast. What am I going to, blog about? What am I going to write about? So I thought about one of my travels that I recently had done at that time. So I wrote it down, on Word, typed it out, and posted it. Well, I didn't understand on these things that once you hit post, there's no edits. Okay. No, I didn't know that. So I was just posting it to see how it would look with the pictures and everything, kind of have a visual, because you have some talking points and you have a picture, and I want to make sure the photo is primarily lined up before I did all the editing with the words.
Right.
It doesn't work that way. So the first one was really with some misspellings and all kind of stuff, but it was published before midnight on March 17th. So here I am. I'm congratulating myself. Yay. I could sleep now. It's not midnight yet. What? Next morning, someone has posted a comment. Well, how do I contact you? You travel often. I'm like, oh, someone actually read my blog. Now they had to contact me. I'm thinking, well, I haven't done social media up until 2022, after I wrote the blogs, when I started my social media accounts.
Right.
Because I'm not a social media person. So I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I got to create a social media account. I didn't realize by posting a blog, this little domino effect would happen, but it did. So I had to create the Facebook account, the Instagram account, set up an email. And then when people found out I was a travel blogger, they wanted, a little bit more curious about me, get a little bit more attention. I go to a conference in May at the Eckhart Tolle event, and I meet Austin J. Haynes of Flashpoint TV. He invites me on his show. I get some recognition. I'm invited on more shows. I befriend someone that's having a conference in Dallas, Texas. I'm like, hey, I'm all about gratitude. I'm like, I'll help. Let me give to help you out. So she did, and she granted me a spot to speak at her convention, her seminar conference. Well, I'm thinking I need something tangible. I'm a traveler, but I need something tangible. So I'm like, what can I do? So in 2 weeks, I created my first book, Travel Chew, so I'd actually have something tangible to publish.
Right.
So things roll on. Now I have a podcast. I have a TV show. I have my own website. So who would have thought in 2021, after all that went south, that you might as well say now 2022 has been a polar opposite.
Absolutely. And it looks like, God was speaking to you that night, because they knew that person was watching, and that was going to set a whole cascade of events, because if they didn't reach back out to you that night, you would have just probably left it right there. Right.
I would have. Yeah.
Yes,
I would have thought anything else about it.
That's all it is. And I talk about this all the time. God talks to us all the time. It's up to us to listen. And when he does, sometimes it doesn't make sense, because that didn't make sense, right? Do the blog, do it now, or you'll never do it.
That's what I said, because I said, when I return in a little while, I can do it then. Well, what's the big deal? That was my thinking. Hey, I'm going to do it. So what does when matter? But I wouldn't have met the people that I met otherwise, I don't believe. I believe we have limited opportunities, and sometimes they're one in a lifetime opportunities. Sometimes we're lucky and get repeats, but it's not often.
Right. Amen to that. Jessica, you have anything to say to that?
I just say you're absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing that you followed your heart, right? And that's all you had to do. You listened to your intuition, which we call it God speaking to us. Mm-hmm. You listened, you took action on that, and look at the blessings that have come into your life as a result of that. And kudos to you, because a lot of people, they play safe, right? They play safe in the zone to where they're with the masses. But when you're called to a higher purpose, when you have an assignment from God that nobody else on this earth is qualified to do but you, he put you here, and now you know what you're supposed to do. You go out there and you just do it, and you have faith that it's going to work out. So I'm just happy for you, Duchess. I'm super happy for you. I do have a question though, and this is kind of like going to balance out the heaviness of our conversation, although it's needed. What is your favorite place? Where is your favorite place to travel? And me being a foodie, what's your favorite food from that place?
My favorite place to go in the United States is Yellowstone National Park. I could actually live up there. I love it that much. And I'm not big on wild game, but in Yellowstone, in Jackson Hole, Jackson, Wyoming, there's this restaurant there. I'm trying to think of the name. I think it's called Gun and Barrel or something along those lines. But anyway, it serves what I call a trio meal. So whenever I'm there, I get it. You get some elk, some venison, and something else. What's the other one? You get 3 wild things: elk, venison, buffalo. Yes. So, and the reason I originally tried it was I'm like, my waiter was like, this is the best thing we have in the house. You ought to try it. And it's a special tonight. And I'm thinking, okay, remember me, I'm Frugalwood Bunny. It's a special. And he said, you get all this other stuff. Well, I said, if I don't like the meat, I can eat all this other stuff. And that'd be enough for me to fill up on. So I'm like, why not try it? And then once I tried it, I'm like, oh, whenever I'm in Jackson, and I go quite a bit, that's what I want. And I like staying at the King Mountain Ranch, and they have a nice restaurant there called Hayden's. Anything in Hayden's is delicious.
So for venison, does it taste like chicken, like everybody says?
I didn't think so. I did not think it resembled chicken at all. Now, it had a really good flavor with it. The venison was actually the sausage version. So, let me see. I think it was the elk that was a steak, and the buffalo, I think, more like a prime rib. But the venison was more sausage. So you could taste the flavoring in it. But I thought it was delicious. No, it did not taste like no chicken.
So what do you about gator? You ever had gator? Because you said you have a house in Florida. So have you had alligator?
I have.
And what do you think about alligator?
To me, it has more of a texture of the chicken. It has a little different taste, but I'm going to dip it in ranch anyway, so it covers up all the taste.
The other ladies are laughing at us. Listen, when you come down to Florida, you'll get used to having alligator.
Yeah, they're actually pretty good, too.
I'm actually not even going to taste anything you cook because you're going to try to slip in some alligator.
Unless it's a cake, right? Unless it's a cake.
And you better not be no gator cake.
You never know.
Nope, and nope. No, thank you. Gaby, any final questions?
No questions. I mean, I just wanted to say thank you so much for inviting us and being on the show. I know this has been something that's been heavy on my mind, so I know there was a purpose in speaking to you today. So thank you so much. I'm going to implement all the tips, keep in mind all the things you said, and hopefully by this time next year I have traveled to a couple more places.
Well, I hope so. And just to let you know, my book, Travel Chew, is 30 days worth of travel tips, inspirational quotes, thoughts to ponder. And also it's in color with pictures that I have taken on my trips, and they'll make you think about things. And also teaches you how to have a budget so you can travel and make the most of your money.
So very important for us to all get that book. And we can purchase that book on Gallivanting Like a Royal on your website.
It's actually available only on Amazon right now, but by the end of the month, it'll be on my website and at Barnes and Nobles. Again, this is an introductory book to my Gallivanting Like a Royal book series. My intention was not to publish it so much to sell. It was going to be when I speak at conferences, motivational speakers, I would have something tangible to show up. I'm the author of this book. This is what it's about. And then it does give you highlights of my upcoming books.
Awesome. So the last question I'm going to ask you, and is what I ask all my guests. And if in one sentence you can sum up, how do you define success?
Success to me is what makes you happy with you. Happiness is a state of mind that we have to decide. And whatever gives you that happiness is success. It doesn't have to be money. Doesn't have to be a job. It doesn't have to be anything. It's just whatever gives you happiness. And if you have happiness, you're successful beyond measure, because there's so many miserable people in this world. Success is being happy.
Amen. Thank you so much for saying that. Duchess, thank you for coming on the show today. Get in contact with Duchess DJ Love at gallivantinglikearoyal.com. Thank you so much, ladies, for co-hosting with me and asking such fantastic questions. And everybody, I'll see you next time.
Hi, everybody. My name is Gabrielle Morales, and I am a recruitment coordinator for Be The Match. My journey with Be The Match actually began when I was only 9 years old. At that point, my 7-month-old baby sister was diagnosed with an extremely rare form of leukemia. Through the Be The Match registry, we were able to find a matching donor for my sister. And although a few months later, we lost her, her cancer was cured. Our family is so thankful for the additional months that we had with my sister. And ever since then, I've made a promise to myself to dedicate my life to helping children just like Isabella and helping families like ours by continuing her legacy. Hence why I now work for Be The Match. I love what I do so much, and I'm able to spread awareness about the huge need for more donors on the registry, especially those of diverse backgrounds. There is currently a huge disparity within the registry for minority patients, and we need your help. It is so simple to save a life and to be put on the registry. You can visit izzy'slegacy.com or text Izzy's Legacy to the number 61474 to start the registration process to be on the Be The Match registry, to hopefully be a life-saving match for a searching patient in need.